Hello, BookTube. All the weather forecasts turned out to be right. Boston is in the middle of a rock'em sock'em March blizzard. Whiteout conditions, no people, only the barest hint of traffic, no cabs, no construction work, no nothing. And whiteout conditions, wind howling, blowing sheets of snow horizontally, and it's a wet snow, so it's sticking to everything. And there's no sign of my sparrows. They're hunkered down deep in the eaves of the house. And yet, despite all that, my mail truck driver actually stopped by this morning. I couldn't believe it when I heard the bell ring. I went out there. We stood on the porch for a bit just to chat, and he handed me a couple of packages, which I'll show you now. It turns out that he's, of course, not going to risk his truck or his life and limb on any of the streets up on the big hills behind me. But the main street, this level Main Street, he's willing to do before he knocks off for the day, I hope. So we have mail, unbelievably, on this day. And it's just 2 packages, but I figure that's better than nothing. It's certainly better than I was expecting for today. So what is this first one? Oh. It's an Unbound Galley. I love those. Oh, great. Oh, fantastic. Oh, wonderful. All right, this comes out in the spring, in May, in the real spring. I'm assuming that by May we will not be dealing with blizzards every single week. This is the 3rd nor'easter in 10 days that Boston has experienced, and another one is shaping up for next Tuesday. You can already see it on the long-range maps. What it will be and how strong it will be, nobody can tell yet, but something, definitely, for exactly a week from today. But anyway, this is by Bill Leatherbarrow, and it is The Moon. It's a big new book about the moon, which is a favorite subject of mine. I dearly love it. I dearly love it. I love everything about it. I love how it's permeated our consciousness. I love how it's permeated our literature. I love the fact that most humans know so little about astronomy that they don't even realize how miraculous this thing is. That we should have this huge thing in such a close orbit, practically a sister planet, just sort of hanging there in a tandem orbit with ours, so close and so powerful that it can actually affect our tides. And that's just... so this is going to be a full... wow, oh, fantastic. This is going to be a full new account of the moon, the first such book in quite some time. And we are always learning more about the moon. Great. Oh, let's read this. This is from the University of Chicago Press. At time of writing, your humble book publicist is a wee bit groggy. Why, do you ask? I blame the moon. This morning I rose early to watch the moon set. Not just any moon, a once in 200 years super blue blood moon. And I wasn't alone. Neighbors daring to brave the cold gathered before dawn in the local park for the best views. Some climbing up hurricane fencing with cell phone in hand and arm outstretched, straining to get a good shot of the enormous waxing lunar eclipse, while their perplexed toy poodles tugged at the end of their leashes. Loony? Perhaps, but with a long and glorious precedent. And this is just a natural history, for want of a better term. This is a xenobiology textbook about that world that hangs in our sky. Oh, fantastic. I want to write about this so bad. All right, okay. All right, well, we're 1 for 1. Let's see what this next one is. It's a finished copy of something. What have we got here? Okay. All right. This is the finished copy of something. This has got to be soon. Yeah, this is at the end of March. This is Double Visions by William Middleton. Double Vision, a great, big, new history, biography and history of the subtitle is The Unerring Art World of the Unerring Eye of Art World Avatars Dominique and John DeMenel, who became one of the world's greatest cultural forces of the 20th century through groundbreaking exhibits of art, artistic scholarship, and creation of innovative, boy, oh boy, okay. All right. The unerring eye of art world avatar. The 20th century through groundbreaking exhibits of art, artistic scholarship. That's I would have written all of this a little differently. Thanks very much. But then again, I don't think anybody was expecting anybody to be reading it out loud. They were art mavens. Is what the two of them. That's the gist of this. And they've never had a book, as far as I know. No book has ever been written about them. And I'm amazed that one could be, because the sources that you would need to write about them are fiercely protective and reclusive. So I'm not really sure how this got done. Actually, I guess I could check, couldn't I? What kind of bibliography did you use? Although I guess time enough has passed now so that most of those sources would be dead, and their records might be more amenable. Oh my. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, this is exhaustively researched. Okay, great. And the author, John Middleton, that is a great cover photo. He's a fashion features director for Harper's Bazaar and the Paris bureau chief of Fairchild Publications. He's written for the New York Times, Esquire, Texas Monthly, and the International Herald Tribune, among many other publications. And he lives in New York City. Okay, so the author traces the de Menel's story from their early years in France, their travels in South America, their time in New York City, to their eventual settling in Houston. In Houston, they built the Menel Collection, the Rothko Chapel, the Byzantine Fresco Chapel, the Cy Twombly Gallery, and underwrote the Contemporary Arts Museum. What makes their story so fascinating is that they were determined that everything they did in Houston should be as good as anything in New York or London or Paris, and they insisted that everything be measured by international standards. Right. Okay, good. To write this book, Middleton did an incredible amount of research and had unprecedented access to the family archives in Houston. He also lived in Houston for over 10 years, noticing firsthand the de Menel's impact on the city. Great. Okay, so this will be. I saw this, I think, in advance copy, and didn't even bother to request one. I just assumed that it wouldn't be my cup of tea, but it's really serious history, and it's also groundbreaking. No one will ever be able to write about this subject without referring to this book. And that is my cup of tea, whether I'm interested in the subject or not. Of course, you all can already guess my opinion on modern art. If you can't look at it and tell that it's art, then it's not art. And if it requires no effort to do, then it's not art. No, art not only requires effort, it requires such amazing effort and genius that only a tiny fraction of 1% of the population of the world at any time can do it. So if you look at something in a museum, and you could easily do it, create the exact same thing. 2 trash cans leaning against each other. Put a plaque on it. Sell it for $5 million. No. No. A blank canvas. A blank canvas hanging on a wall in an art museum in Houston. A blank canvas. Literally nothing done to it. No, no. A white canvas with 2 red lines. Okay, great. Splotches of paint on a canvas, so that the stereotypical, petty bourgeois suburban museum goer looks at it and says, "Ah, my kid could do that." But there, as is true with most of the utterances of petty bourgeois suburban burgermeisters, there's some truth to it. If you look at something in an art museum and your literal first response is, "My kid could do that," then you're not looking at art. You're looking at the art world. But that is that little rant, among many other reasons, why I thought this book would just not be for me. But now I see that that's not true. This is a serious thing to do. It's a serious thing to read about. So I will. Okay, I will dig right into this because the time is coming up. All right, so wow, what an interesting combo. So we have an Unbound Galley of the Moon, a new study of the moon. Not exclusively a study just of its place in culture. There's a huge chapter in the middle here called the Moon as a World, which means we'll be studying what's going on there, how much water there is, what the gravity is like, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So we've got the moon and double vision, but a pair of modern art enthusiasts. And there you go. An unbelievable mail haul. Would never have thought that I would have a mail haul today. You should see what it's like outside here. But there you go. So I will wrap it up now, and I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.